IGN, Wizards of the Coast OGL change draws ire from creators and fans alike. It's not right. Trouble is brewing in the Forgotten Realms. Now, if you don't know what Forgotten Realms are, it's Dungeons and Dragons standard setting, late medieval setting. There's a lot of different settings in D&D. Greyhawk, Dark Sun, Spelljammer. The list is long. Welcome back to my channel. I want to thank everybody for stopping by and supporting my work. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube does unsubscribe people every single day. You can find me over on Rumble and on Twitter. I am the Anti-Woke Warrior, all one word on Rumble. And on Twitter, I'm also the Anti-Woke Warrior. I wasn't going to make another Dungeons & Dragons video. That was not my plan. But I had at least one of my viewers want to know what my opinion of the OGL was. And the short answer is I have mixed feelings. And we'll get into the long answer as we go through this article. Before we get started, I do need to make a correction from my last video. I did mention in that video that the word cleric refers to a Muslim religious leader. That is incorrect. It refers to a religious leader that is either Muslim or Christian. And the internet lied to me is what happened, because I looked at that word up years ago and it referred only to Islam. And I should have known better, because the word clerical obviously has the root cleric. And back in the day, only the holy people could read and write. So obviously it comes from the church. But the internet does lie from time to time. Not that many years ago, the internet claimed that the word propaganda meant information. And we all know that that is not true. Now let's get to the article. The tabletop industry looks to be undergoing a seismic shift based on leaked documents showing that Wizards of the Coast intends to implement a more restricted Open Gaming License (OGL) agreement. According to the recent Gizmodo report, Hasbro subsidiary Wizards of the Coast, WOTC, is poised to revoke its long-standing OGL, which allows for third-party publishers and fans to create D&D content using their game rules. For over 20 years, this license has empowered countless creators to make and distribute their own D&D content using tools like Kickstarter, and has allowed large publishers like Paizo, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, creators of Pathfinder, to become titans of the tabletop space in their own right. Pathfinder? That's what allowed Pathfinder to get big? So this is a frustration for me, because what they're doing is making Dungeons & Dragons a universal role-playing system, but it's not a universal role-playing system. It is just awful to use. It is terrible. Believe me, if you've never played anything other than D&D, there are better systems out there. And I know you're probably going to try these other systems and be like, I'd rather play D&D. I was the same way at first. D&D was great. D&D was the best. D&D was awesome. But once I started really getting into these other games and playing them, I don't want to play D&D. I don't. I want to play other role-playing games. Reportedly, the new license, called OGL 1.1, makes numerous revisions to the D&D policy, including adding a requirement that all creators register any products they're selling with Wizards of the Coast. The new agreement also introduces a new 20 to 25% royalty to be paid to Wizards by licensed users making an excess of $750,000 in a year, while giving Wizards a non-exclusive, perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide, sub-licensable, royalty-free license to use content created using OGL for any purpose. The new agreement would force all creators to adopt OGL 1.1, despite the current version's explicit language that a move like that could never be forced upon creators. Now, this is actually inaccurate what they're saying here. The new agreement would force all creators to adopt. No. You can create as much as you want to. You can go ahead and create all of the D&D supplements that you want to. Why you would do that is beyond me, because there's way easier and better ways of creating supplements for better and easier to use systems. But okay, if that's what you want to do, you can do that. You just can't market them. Like, nobody's going to kick your door down and be like, hey, you're using an unauthorized module that you made yourself. How dare you, sir? I'm going to require that you pay me and that I have licensing over that. This is Wizards of the Coast product. They purchased it fair and square, and they should have the right to sell it as they see fit. Even if you create something and try to market it, it's theirs. They've been very generous up to this point for 20 years now, right? I think it's 2002 when the original OGL came along, which allowed for Wizards of the Coast to promote D&D and make it kind of more universally used, which is a tragedy, because other games that were amazing. You could have a game shop. You could actually run a game shop that sold only role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games, and products for tabletop role-playing games and tabletop strategy games. There are lots of them around. I don't think they're as common anymore. The game shop here where I'm located is gone. And it had to sell other stuff too besides just tabletop stuff, because it couldn't make it on the games that were available, because everything is focused on, there's 8 books in Dungeons & Dragons 5e. 8 books. And so, hey, I got those 8 books. I'm not going to spend any more money. Or, hey, I got the book that I want, or I got the 5 books that I want. And you can get them all for free on any flip anyway. So, Wizards of the Coast responds, the OGL is not going away. After rumors regarding these changes began appearing online last month, Wizards of the Coast responded to online backlash from fans by issuing a statement on their D&D forum. The OGL is not going away. Wizards of the Coast wrote, you will still be able to create new D&D content, publish it anywhere, and game with your friends and followers in all the ways that make this game and community so great. The thousands of creators publishing across Kickstarter, DM's Guide, and more are a critical part of the D&D experience, and we will continue to support and encourage them to do that through 1D&D and beyond. Yeah, because that's free labor for them. You see, they've gone to this model where you, the player, does all the dirty work for them, and then they're trying to now earn money off of your stuff. So if they find something that they like that you're publishing, they're going to go ahead and just take that and then make it their own, make it better, make it bigger, publish it more, and then they're going to make money off of that. You've done all the dirty work for them. It's fine. And this, I think, has a lot to do with D&D Beyond. If you don't know what D&D Beyond is, it doesn't say D&D Beyond here. I think it's D&D Beyond. Correct me if I'm wrong, because 5th edition is stupid. It's the online gaming side of Dungeons & Dragons, where you can create everything online, you can roll the dice online. It has an algorithm that accurately rolls the 20-sided die, etc. So I think that's a big reason why they're doing this, because you can't just plug in your own stuff into that algorithm without them going, hey, you're using our thing for your thing. That's not okay. If you're going to use our thing, it's going to be our thing that you're using in our thing, period. But the leaked draft of OGL 1.1 seems to tell a very different story. One aimed at obstructing competitors like Green Ronin Games, which sells numerous products that utilize OGL. In OGL 1.1, Wizard states the open game license was always intended to allow the community to help grow D&D and expand it creatively. It wasn't intended to subsidize major competitors, especially now that PDF is by far the most common form of distribution, with D&D alternatives like Pathfinder enjoying enormous popularity in recent years. Wizards is increasingly interested in reining in the OGL. Don't play Pathfinder. I've never played it, but I've looked at it, and it's garbage. Anything that you have where you are restricted by level is a bad game system. In fact, restricting things by level is why you're getting all this backlash about, oh, it's racist. Oh my goodness, no, you're being prejudiced. Yes, because D&D requires you to individuate your character by class. There are 12 classes in the base rulebook, the player's handbook. You can multi-class, which gives you a little bit more freedom, but like I've stated in my previous video, if you multi-class, you're basically starting over from square one. If you're a 5th level character and you're like, I want to multi-class now, well, your new abilities are going to be 1st level, and if you continue to just put experience into that new class, the other characters in the group are going to outclass you. They're going to be much more powerful than you, essentially. They've tried to kind of make that fair and even adjusted game mechanic in this version of Dungeons & Dragons by making it like your overall level. Like if you're level 5 and then you multi-class, so you would be considered level 6 for a lot of purposes of the game, at least some of the purposes of the game. I can't say a lot, actually, but for some of the purposes of the game, you'd be considered level 6. But it still doesn't work. It's just so limiting to be like, I'm stuck on this path and I can't do anything except get to the next level to get a new ability. And that ability might not be anything that I want. It's so restrictive. You're like stuck in this really narrow lane. It's so annoying. You can't try to like expand your game and make it just a free-for-all for characters to do what they want to do. Like, why can't my wizard learn how to use a battle axe? Nope, can't do that. Why not? Well, you got to become a fighter or a barbarian to do that. Oh, okay, I got to become a fighter or a barbarian. All right, well, I'll do that then. Oh, you got to start all over? Ugh, great. The changes to WOTC's OGL come amid increased pressure to increase revenue from parent company Hasbro. Just last month, CEO Cynthia Williams described D&D as being really under-monetized during a digital event with investors and expressed an interest in unlocking the type of recurring spending you see in digital games. These statements came immediately following a dip in Hasbro stock after analysts criticized their handling of Magic the Gathering. Okay, so you have these core rules that you think are expansive and can be universal, which, I mean, yeah, you can use the rules to do anything. I used to use the D&D rules to play gangs of major cities, basically. It's like you played a gang member and you're running around fighting other gang members in modern day. All right? So you can use the rules to do whatever you want to do. But they don't really lend themselves to universality because they are too restrictive. The game rules are too restrictive to be like in the core rule book. There's like no guns, basically. There might be a flintlock or something like that, rules for that, but I don't think there even is for that. So you have to make up your own rules for that sort of thing. Anyway, so if you want to have a universal system, just go play a different game. And WOTC should have been smart about this and bought a universal system like GURPS or the Hero system. And then they could have been like, okay, now you make your own stuff and publish it. And then everybody would be a lot happier. D&D had name brand recognition, and they probably weren't even aware that there were other games out there, honestly. But yeah, this is their baby, and they're going to do with it what they will. They're trying to make more money now. It's underfunded because we have a female CEO in command of WOTC. I've heard bad things about Hasbro. I don't know anything about Hasbro. I don't purchase toys. I'm an adult. They're making wrong moves because they're not playing this up enough. And we're going to get into that a little bit more, I think, as we go through this article. But let's get back to the article. The leaked document gained additional credibility when Kickstarter directed the game's John Ritter tweeted. Kickstarter was contacted after WOTC decided to make OGL changes, so we felt the best move was to advocate for creators, which we did. Managed to get lower percentage plus more being discussed. No hidden benefits, no financial kickbacks for Kickstarter. This is their license, not ours, obviously. Yeah, it's their license, so they're going to do what they want to do with it. The lower percentage Ritter refers to is the perplexing 5% reduction in royalty payments offered to projects funded through the crowdfunding platform, all but confirming the rumors OGL 1.1 changes. Reached for comment by IGN, Wizards of the Coast declined to comment further and pointed towards the statement on D&D Beyond. Yeah, I mean, they've already made the statement. They don't need to make more comments and dig a deeper hole, and the people that they're reaching out to probably don't have time to sit around making statements to them. Now, with details of the draft of OGL 1.1 out in the open, fans and creators alike are sounding the alarm. Pat Mooney, the lead designer at Flagbearer Games, told IGN, the most painful part of the new OGL is the clause that gives WOTC the right to use any of my content in perpetuity, royalty-free. I'm planning to kickstart a sourcebook on the American Revolution in the spring. That's unfortunate that you put in all that work and you can't now use your favorite gaming system, which is garbage, to play that game. So what you want to do then is make up your own game system and then put that in there. I understand that it's going to be more work, but it really doesn't take that much to make up your own game system. It really does not. You can simply look at some of the other game systems that are out there, because game systems are free. You cannot copyright a game system. So you can just go to another game, look at another game system and go, I'm just going to copy this one and put it in your game, in your setting here, as the American Revolution. Die 6 system, like I've said before, 75 pages, and you can play whatever you want to play. Just put that system, plug it into your American Revolution game, and you will be 100% fine. I know that's going to take rewrite and time. I get that. That's a pain in the butt. But you're going to be left with a much better product that you can do whatever you want to do with. You don't have to be beholden to Dungeons & Dragons and WOTC. He went on to write, more than half of my book will be fluff, or world-building history, and other narrative content that has nothing to do with rolling a die. Yet, if I publish under the OGL 1.1, by the letter of the agreement, WOTC could publish all my writing at their discretion. It's not right. No, it is right. Actually, that is copyright law. So don't publish under that. Like I just told you, I gave you the solution to this problem. I know it's going to cause you to lose time and it's money, etc. That this is the world of business. You lose time and money, etc. because of these things happening. They want to have that money. WOTC wants to have that money. They are underfunded. This license, this open game license, the previous one, was intended to spread support for the game. And now that people are making bank off of this, they need to do something about it because, hey, they're like, look, we're losing money because you guys are making bank off of our intellectual property. They gave up the model of what they did with 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, which was to print hundreds of books. And then they also printed hundreds of miniature figures. What they need to do is go back to that model and then also put out posters, novels, comic books, video games, movies, television shows, everything. You need to like have an entire product here if you want to keep WOTC going, if you want to keep Dungeons & Dragons going. Hopefully this leads to the fall of Dungeons & Dragons, nobody plays it anymore, and it goes away. And we can focus on playing games that are good. Nerd Immersion, a YouTuber and creator of D&D content through use of OGL, told IGN, if this continues, I could see a rise in popularity of other non-D&D and non-OGL RPGs. I also wouldn't be surprised if several of the creators who are frustrated by these changes end up designing a new replacement RPG system, similar to how 4E and the game system license led to the creation of Pathfinder using the original OGL. Didn't I just say the same thing? Some publishers, like publisher MCDM, which makes supplements for D&D, remain optimistic, saying to fans via Twitter, Regarding the OGL 1.1, MCDM has taken advice from Council, and we don't think it affects the development of Flea Mortals. If when other products are affected, we'll let the community know. Tyler A. Thompson, an attorney who represents games publisher Sad Fish Games and Prudence Holdings, both of which rely on OGL, wrote in a letter to Wizards that creators are not going to be bullied, and that if Wizards would not clarify the planned changes in OGL 1.1, his clients will be forced to begin preparation for litigation to the fullest extent allowable by law, including to contact major and minor publishers to join in a potential claim against Wizards for an anticipatory breach and other claims. Time will tell if the leaked draft of OGL 1.1 will see the light of day, as Wizards is apparently open to being convinced we made a wrong decision. After all, it wouldn't be D&D without a DM asking, "Are you sure?" before making a choice that completely upends the game. And there are comments down below. We want to hear from Buddha Hafet. This is just greed. Open license saved D&D 20 years ago. Now they want to hurt people who actually have been keeping the game popular. If you read the actual terms, you will see there is more to just paying them a cut. They get to control the use of your material legally. Yeah, I know. We already talked about that. There was one that I wanted to read, and I don't see it. That makes me mad because it was a really, really good one. Maybe it's this one here. Oh, yeah, here we go. From Jester Canuck. I think the problem with the 750K figure is that it's revenue and not profit. Right. It's revenue and not profit. If you make $1 million Kickstarter, after Kickstarter takes its slice, but 90% of the money is going to printing, shipping, and paying the artists and writers, you're only left with $75,000. If WOTC comes and asks for 25% of that $1 million, which is $250,000, then you're in the hole, right? You're way in the hole because it's $250,000 compared to $75,000, or even if it's $100,000. Even if it's $200,000 and you owe them $250,000, you're $50,000 down. And that's really the main point of this here. And how far is this going to go? Clownfish TV made the point that, like, are they going to come after any game that uses the 20-sided die? Because basically it was D&D that created the 20-sided die. They're going to say that's our stuff. The 20-sided die is our IP. Can we just go ahead and say any game that uses that IP is going to pay us? Yeah. So that is probably a game rule. And so you can't claim that's your IP. But they could do that with any die except for the 6-sided die. They didn't bring this up because there's 4-sided dice, there are 8-sided dice, 10 and 12-sided dice. D&D uses all of them. Here's a page out of the Red Basic book. I'm not familiar with the White Book. The White Book is older from what I can see. It doesn't have thieves in it. This is the thief right here. Look at this. You roll percentile dice for things. For your thieving abilities. These are your thieving abilities, by the way. This is one of the reasons why D&D is stupid. It's not this way anymore, but it used to be that unless you were a thief, you could not move silently. You could not hide in shadows. You could not climb on sheer surfaces. It was impossible for you. I don't have arms and legs. I can't try to climb something. Nope. Unless you're a thief. But look, you roll percentile dice here. D&D invented percentile dice. Except for, of course, when you get down to the end here, where it's a die 6 roll for the hear noise. Like, I don't know what D&D... I mean, they could have just made it another percentile roll. Why they went with... They could have made this all 6-sided die roll. Really. So, anyway. These are reasons why D&D is not a good game, because it's all over the place. And the new rules are not that much better. The 5e rules are not better, really. They are not. I've heard more people complain about 5e than any other version except for 4th edition, which I never played, so I don't know. But apparently the problem with 4th edition was it was a game that was designed to be played using the computer in addition to face-to-face interaction, and they didn't have the software support to do that. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I've heard. Because I never played it. 3rd edition was good, but I'd have to go back and look at that and tell you if the rules are insane or not, like they are in 5th edition. 5th edition just has too many rules, and you're still stuck into levels and classes. You're stuck with being the thing that you are. You cannot branch out into anything else. It's so frustrating if your character is not being productive in the group, is not a productive member of the group. You're just stuck doing this thing. It's like, okay, well, I'm this thing. By the way, I love playing races that are not human. I love it. Oh, one of my favorite parts of role-playing games is I get to play something that's not a human. So much fun for me. So there's a game called Earth Dawn. It's made by the same people. At the time, it was made by the same people that make Shadowrun. A great game, by the way. Play Shadowrun. Play Earth Dawn. Good games, both of them. I played a human. Why? Because the human was the most versatile of all the races. There was a lot of races in the game, but I was like, the human can do anything, though. The human can take, even though I have this character, I don't think it was called a class, but it was, my profession in the game, I could take other abilities from other professions and use them. Only a human could do that. None of the other races could do that. So even though I love playing non-humans, I was playing a human in that game because it was the most versatile of them all. But that's my thoughts on the OGL. Is I feel sorry for the people who are making money, and they have found a niche where they can exploit the capitalist market that we have here in the United States and earn a lot of money. Obviously, that's great. You're not hurting anybody, except you are hurting people because you're promoting a backwards system that should never have existed in the first place. Gary Gygax, you made the first of an amazing hobby, the best hobby ever. You started off. But the rules in basic Dungeons & Dragons, and then especially in first edition Dungeons & Dragons, are garbage. Most of those rules carried over into second edition Dungeons & Dragons, and then you try to clean them up in 3.5, and then we end up with this 5e garbage, which is just not a good game. It's not a good game. It really is not. Play good games. Talislanta I always bring up all the time. Shadowrun, GURPS, the hero system, Dice 6 system. Play good games only. Stop playing bad games like D&D. Good on you guys for finding this niche in the market. I'm glad that this is potentially going away because I don't want to see the promotion of Dungeons & Dragons anymore. I want to see people promoting games that are still in publication, like Big Eyes Small Mouth and the Hero System, that are good damn games. And you should be playing them all of the damn time because you know what? If you're like, I want to play D&D, though, well, you can play the same damn setting. You can play Forgotten Realms with Big Eyes Small Mouth with GURPS. You can do it with the Hero System, with all these different games that I'm mentioning, except for Talislanta and Shadowrun. And you can even just fudge those, modify them, and then I ran a Shadowrun campaign once that was set in medieval times instead of being set in the future. You can do that. It's your game. Go ahead and play how you want to. So, like I was saying, that's all I got for this time. I will see you in the next video.